Well, you touched on the mental aspect and how the processed foods took you down, but mentally you were in a more suicidal, depressed state. And I just want to fast forward. That was back in 2008. That
Yeah.
was not during what we've been experiencing over the last 2 years. On mainstream media, I saw last week that they had a statistic that over 60% of college students are self-diagnosed as depressed or anxious or on some medication. I have a teacher friend who teaches elementary school. She says 24 out of 25 of the kids are on some sort of medication for anxiety, ADHD, or mood disorder. So, what we are experiencing now is a huge crisis of what you were experiencing and not that you were alone, but the percentage of people suffering back then was not even what it is today. And it also takes me to the thought of people say, well, Sara, you are so restrictive with your fasting and with your diet. And I'm sitting here going, are you kidding me? My life has been unleashed. I've got awareness. I'm awake. I have motivation. I have calmness. Yeah, you've got the days where you're a little depressed or down and anxious, but it's not a mood disorder. And all the benefits of ketosis in the mental realm. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that because we are in such a crisis with what's going on right now.
We are. And those are some really sad statistics you just shared. Yeah, what's really restrictive is not being able to move your body, not being able to feel confident, not being able to express your true, authentic self. I mean, that's restriction to me. And people who are unhealthy are restricted. People who are healthy, like you said, we're unleashed. We're living a life on purpose with our purpose. We feel free, and it's not restrictive. The opposite of restrictive. It's actually unrestricted. So there was a study that came out in 2018 from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and they looked at over 8,000 people to assess how healthy or unhealthy is the adult American population. And they came to the conclusion that only 12% of American adults are metabolically healthy, meaning 88% of American adults are metabolically unhealthy. And to your point, that was before everything happened with COVID. And that got worse. It didn't get better. So not only are we dealing with worse physical health, the physical health transfers to the mental health and isolation and being fearful and feeding into mainstream news, which I call fear porn. It's just designed to put you in this fight or flight sympathetic state. And if you want to lower your immune system, one of the fastest ways for you to lower your immune system and wipe it out is to be in fear, is to live in fear. Not only does it take away blood flow from your prefrontal cortex and deliver it to your amygdala, which is your fight or flight response, but it also lowers your immune response. And how do I know this? Well, I remember when I interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton, he shared that the example of how stress wipes out your immune system, chronic stress. He shared the example of a patient that was about to get a kidney transplant. And this is very common. Anytime a patient is about to go through that procedure of getting a new kidney, what does the surgeon do? The surgeon will inject the patient with stress hormones. Why does the surgeon do that? Because the stress hormones will wipe out and mitigate the immune response so the body could accept that foreign object. And that's exactly what's happening when we live in fear. And the unique thing about fear and faith is that they both demand for you to believe in something you cannot see. So why don't we choose the positive? Why don't we choose the faith? And that's the standpoint that I live in now. And it's easier to do that, by the way, when you are living it to lead it, meaning you're eating healthy, you're in ketosis, you're in intermittent fasting, you reduce neuroinflammation. So you could actually live in faith versus living in fear.